Driving under the influence of hallucinogens, consequences, fines, and penalties, Part 1. A family of chemicals known as hallucinogens alters the user's view of reality or causes hallucinations. A person using a hallucinogenic drug may see visuals, sounds, or sensations that seem extremely real but are actually the result of the drug's delusional effects. Even though they do not qualify as real hallucinogens because this is not one of their principal effects, some stimulant drugs, such as amphetamines, can also create hallucinations. The majority of hallucinogens are illicit, Class 1 substances with no widely used medical applications. Dimenhydrinate, a drug for nausea, dextromethorphan, and diphenhydramine are a few exceptions to this rule, and allergy medication. These medications are still closely monitored even though they are allowed for medicinal usage. Based on their effects and biological mechanisms, hallucinogenic substances can be further divided into subcategories. Dissociate hallucinogens and archetypal, or classic hallucinogens, are the two basic types of hallucinogenic substances. Dissociative hallucinogens. Dissociative hallucinogens make users feel detached from their own bodies, their sense of self, and their immediate surroundings in addition to producing hallucinations. These medicines frequently cause users to feel out of control or as though they are experiencing an out-of-body experience. Three popular dissociative hallucinogens include DXM, dextromethorphan, PCP, phencyclidine, and ketamine. Usual, traditional, hallucinogens. Traditional or prototypical hallucinogens, commonly known as psychedelics, produce tactile, auditory, and visual hallucinations but not dissociative ones. LSD, D-lysergic acid diethylamide, psilocybin mushrooms, DMT, and dimethyltryptamine, and peyote are all included in this group of drugs. Mescaline. The effects of marijuana, whose use is by far the most popular and well-known among traditional hallucinogens, will be thoroughly covered in the remaining sections of this video. The dried flowers of the cannabis plant, which are typically green-gray in color, are referred to as marijuana. Over 35 million Americans are estimated to consume this drug each year, and it is known by a huge array of slang terms, including weed, bud, grass, pot, herb, and ganja. The chemical in marijuana known as THC, delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, is what gives it its psychedelic and mind-altering effects. THC is mostly present in the resin of the female cannabis plant's leaves and buds. In addition to THC, cannabis plants also contain approximately 100 other chemically related substances known as cannabinoids, which have various physiological effects but have not been thoroughly investigated. Despite being classified as a Schedule I narcotic by the federal government, marijuana is taken more frequently than any other recreational drug in the United States. Younger age groups are particularly fond of the medication. Over 11 million teenagers and young people between the ages of 18 and 25 were found to have used marijuana in the past year, according to a poll conducted in 2015. This is concerning because research suggests regular marijuana use may harm brain development. Long-term drug users among teenagers and young adults are likely to experience intellectual impairment that lasts a lifetime. What effect does marijuana have? Anandamide, a neurotransmitter in the human brain, is an endogenous cannabinoid, a cannabinoid that originates within an organism, and its chemical structure is very similar to that of THC. Neurotransmitters are molecules that aid in the transmission of messages between nerve cells, as was covered in earlier videos. THC can attach to the cannabinoid receptors on nerve cells in place of anandamide due to their similarities. THC does this via activating the receptors that are principally in charge of affecting memory, cognition, pleasure, attention, movement, sensory perception, and time perception. What is the dosage of marijuana? The most common methods for smoking marijuana are pipes or hand-rolled cigarettes, sometimes known as joints, either with or without tobacco. In order to avoid breathing smoke, the medicine can also be evaporated and inhaled using a specific vaporizer. A lot of individuals also consume marijuana by brewing it into tea, baking it into treats like cookies or brownies, or mixing it with food. Cannabis extracts, which are created from the resin of the plant, have substantially higher THC concentrations. These resin extracts can have a thick liquid consistency, a semi-solid consistency, kind of like lip balm, or they can take the form of a hard, amber-colored solid. Since marijuana extracts are significantly more potent than the plant's flowers, there is a much higher risk of poisoning or other adverse effects. Marijuana's side effects. THC enters the circulation when marijuana is smoked or consumed and travels to the brain. When consumed as food or in tea, marijuana's effects can take up to an hour to become apparent, but smoking it has almost instantaneous effects. THC has a multitude of impacts via overstimulating the brain regions in charge of senses, vision, judgment, movement, reward, and memory.